Another day, another dollar. Thank the Lord for another 24. God, I knew that was you. Quick correctional officer video. I'm dropping a video for my female correctional officers, any ladies or women that are interested in being correctional officers, or you're going through the hiring process, you're about to start the academy, this and that. I'm going to give y'all some obstacles that you will face in your career, being a woman and working in corrections. The first one that I want to bring up, is that stereotype and that misconception, that being a correctional officer is a man's job. Only men should be working in prisons, or, men should work in men's facilities and women should only work in women's facilities. I feel like that's BS. I feel like a woman can do the job just as good as a man, and I feel like there's certain situations where a woman's presence, as a staff member, it actually helps in a correctional setting in a men's facility, because you got to think it's a lot of testosterone flowing through those prisons, a lot of negativity. A woman's presence can kind of calm that down. I feel, working inside of a men's facility. Then there's certain situations where, an altercation may occur, and you got a male CEO, he gung-ho, he quick to pop off on the inmate, try to body slam, you got a cowboy and a female officer can kind of come step in possibly and kind of defuse the situation. So, I feel like I said, that whole misconception of only a man should work in a men's facility, I feel like that's BS. I feel like if, you went through the academy and you doing the job to the best of your ability and you performing and you getting the job done, then I feel like it's an equal field. You know what I'm saying? And I've worked at 3 different facilities in my career in corrections, and there's plenty females, that work as officers in different roles inside the prison system, and I feel like they do a good job. They enforce the rules, they do their job, they're fair, firm, and consistent, and they get respect from the inmates. They can get the inmates to do what they want them to do, run their housing unit, and they go home at the end of the day. So, like I said, man, don't fall for that trap. Don't let nobody tell you any different as far as only a man should be doing a correctional officer's job. Like I said, I feel like that's BS. The next thing, obstacles for female officers is being hypersexualized by the inmates and being hounded, by your male coworkers and male counterparts, especially in your first year. This is the thing, right? As a correctional officer, especially as a female correctional officer, you got people that have been locked up for a long time. They may not have been with a woman for a long time. So you hop on the scene, you fresh on the scene. Let's say you an attractive young lady, the inmates see that, man, they're going to be all looking at you, man. They go out their way, to break their neck when you walk by. It's like a whole damn sideshow when you get relieved or you coming on the unit. I can give you some good advice, is to probably try to get a bigger size uniform, especially if you like a curvier woman, you got a lot of curves, and attractive, that can help you out. I see a lot of the women staff members that work in my prison, they wear like coats around their waist, to conceal, they got a lot of cleavage, stuff like that. You don't want to give them any kind of ideas wearing too much of revealing clothing when it comes to a uniform, too tight of a uniform, because you got to think now, you got people in there that are locked up, that have a history of rape, and there's been instances in corrections, where I've seen it, I've heard of it firsthand, where an inmate tried to rape a staff member, a female staff member. There was an instance a few years back at the prison I'm at, mental health. The nurse was on the nursing unit on the unit. She was by herself. I think the officer was making a round or something on the unit. He was at the back of the unit. The mental health inmate crept inside the door and she couldn't hear it. And he crawled in there and jumped on her. He was on top of her, man. He was on there. He almost succeeded, man. Luckily, the officer was able, had finished his round and was able to save her, man. So you got to be mindful, that you got inmates like that. You got inmates in there that like to do things like jack off. You know, when you doing your round on the unit, you know, you may be counting or something. The inmate know you working on the unit. You know, they already see you coming. They whip it out, man, and start whacking on right in front of you. I've never understood, you know, how an inmate can get off on that. You know, if I was locked up, me personally, I would just probably, you know, I would probably have a whole bunch of dirty pictures and magazines, and I would try to get off, you know, in my cell or in my own privacy. I've never understood how do you get off by just jacking off to a female staff? Maybe they think in their mind that the woman may like it, she may be attracted to it, and that's their way in or their way to get favor from her or try to compromise her. I know if that happens, you know, you need to report that. You need to write a memo, write that inmate up, report it to your supervisor, you know, so that can go on their jacket. There's a lot of inmates in the correctional system that has a bad habit of doing that, you know. Sometimes they may call you to the door, you know, the window in the cell is like this. They could be standing there. You may not be able to see what they're doing, you know, but you in their face and the whole time they whacking off, you know, stuff like that. So you got to be mindful of that type of stuff. Know the inmates on your unit that have a history of rape. You know, there's been instances where inmates have tried to grab nurses, you know, touch them inappropriately, stuff like that. You always want to document that, report that, write the inmate up, call for assistance or help if you need help on the walkie-talkie, things of that nature. The next thing I mentioned too, as far as being hounded by your male coworkers, you know, this is the some funny stuff to me, man. Y'all gonna laugh at this one, but you know, I see it a lot at the prison I'm at too now. You know, a lot is real bad. You know, when a new officer starts, a female, especially if she's attractive. You know, I've been working with a female, you know, she had just started, she was real attractive. You know, we got to talking, you know, during our shift, and she was just telling me, you know, about all the male co-workers that was trying to hit on her. You know, it was crazy to me because she was like, there was male co-workers that had never even seen her. You know, where I work at, it's like a complex. So it's like 4 different prisons in one, you know, but they're all under one roof. It's called a complex, but they're like technically separate from each other. So she told me when she got on, you know, we work at the medical center part. She was like, there was officers from like the FCI, the other institution that was emailing her, you know, saying like, you know, if you need anything, hit me up. Maybe we can go out sometime, stuff like that. And it was crazy because she was like, she had never even seen these people or never even met these people. You know, you got to think where I'm at, it's probably like 1,500 staff members, you know, custody, correctional officers, and other people that work in other departments. So it's a big complex. It's a lot of people that work there. So for you to hit somebody up that you've never even seen, you know, you may have heard, oh yeah, this new officer started down there. You know, people, you know, the rumor mill, people got friends at other institutions. You know, I know people at all the institutions because I work overtime. I was like, man, that's crazy, man. I'm like, you know, if I like somebody, you know, or, you know, I feel like they like me, I gotta at least see them, or, you know, I have worked with them or interacted, and, you know, I felt the feelings was mutual before I even entertained something. You know, it make sense to me. How are you trying to holler or hit on somebody you never even met, you know? So those are some of the things, you know, you got to be mindful of too. You know, there's some dogs in there now. You know, as soon as you start, they're going to be on you like white on rice. You know, I'm not even talking about the inmates. I'm talking about your male coworkers, you know, this and that. So you got to be mindful of that. You got to know who you are as a woman, you know, this and that. The next thing is having to watch how you move. As a woman, you know, there's certain things in corrections, you know, that it already looks bad as it is, you know, or there's already that misconception, you know, things like all female officers sleep with the inmates in the media, you know, you let them tell the story. So, you know, when you dealing with the inmates, you know, they come in your office, they asking for supplies, toilet paper, stuff like that, or they need you to trying to see if you can make a call to medical or this and that. That's one thing. But when they trying to linger in your office unnecessarily, trying to stay in the office for like 20, 30 minutes, you know, you got to nip that in the bud, because all they're trying to do is get FaceTime with you, you know, trying to become friendly, you know, and they got ulterior motives, trying to see if they can compromise you flip you, try to get you to sleep with them, you know, stuff like that. And it happens all the time in corrections. Believe it or not, you know, it's always a female staff member getting walked out somewhere at some facility nationwide for sleeping with the inmates, having romantic relationships with the inmates, falling in love with the inmates, stuff like that. So you got to learn how to control that. You know, I know it's different for women. You know, you got different hormones than the male. You know, you may be in that type of environment and you see a inmate that's attractive, this and that. You know, he may be working out on the rec yard without his shirt on, tattoos, stuff like that. You got to think now, once you go down that hole, there's no coming back from it. You know, once you go down and you do something wrong, you become romantically involved with an inmate, you know, start sleeping with him, stuff like that, you know, you're going to get caught eventually. You know, you're going to lose your job. You're probably going to go to prison, this and that, you know. So it's best to not even get your honey where you get your money, you know. Try to get, you know, have relationships outside of work or date outside of work, you know what I'm saying? Definitely, I mean, if you do it, cool with a coworker, but definitely it's a no-no when it comes to the inmates, you know. So you got to be mindful of that. Certain, you know, clothes that you may wear, certain perfumes, you have to probably be mindful of that too, you know, because the inmates, you know, like I said, some of them been locked up 10, 15, 20, 25 years. So they like, man, you come in with a certain perfume, they may interpret that for some reason in their head that you want them or you wore that perfume for them. So you got to be mindful of things like that, you know, too. You know, some females I've talked to that I work with, they say they don't even wear perfume, or they, you know, like I said, they may wear a bigger size uniform. They wear their coat around their waist if, you know, they real curvy, stuff like that, you know, just to try to hide those type of things. The next thing is trying to balance your family life. You know, as a woman, you know, naturally, you know, a lot of women are mothers, or they have, if you don't have kids already, you got dreams and ambitions of starting your own family, having kids, you know, getting married, stuff like that. So you got to keep in mind, working in corrections, you know, you have, you got to be able to maneuver around all the things that comes with working in corrections, you know, having to work the weekends, the holidays, shift work. If you got kids, making sure you got reliable, you know, somebody reliable that needs to pick the kids up in case you get mandated. You can't make it to the daycare to pick the kids up. You know, you got to have your support system in play. You know, if you single, you know, you got to have somebody that can watch the kids in the evening if you got to work, family member, you know, friends or co-work, stuff like that, man. So you got to factor all that in too, you know, when it comes to trying to start your family and have a sense of normalcy. It's very doable. You know, it may be challenging at first, but you will figure it out as you go. You know, there's plenty women, like I said, that work in corrections. There's plenty women that are in there that are married, you know, got a family outside of work, kids, husbands. Some of them, there's couples that work in the institution. You know, you got couples, you know, husband and wife that work at the prison. So, you know, it's very doable and this and that, you know. Y'all like this video, make sure you subscribe to my channel at The Ghetto Bodybuilder. Follow me on Instagram, TikTok at The Ghetto Bodybuilder. I got the merchandise for sale. Shop with me on my website, www.theghettobodybuilder.com. Y'all got any comments, questions, or concerns? Drop a comment. I'll be sure to get back with you as soon as I can. Y'all know how we coming. Let's get motivated.